Imagine a world without boundaries, a world where the limitations of the human body are no longer a barrier, but a starting point. Where thought alone can move mountains, or at least a cursor on a screen. This isn't a distant science fiction fantasy, it's the precipice on which we stand today. For the first time in human history, a machine is entering the most sacred and complex space we know, the human brain. This is not an invasion. It is an invitation, a delicate, microscopic emissary of our own creation, designed not to replace us, but to merge with us. To listen to the silent symphony of our neurons and translate it into action. To speak back in a language the brain can understand. This is the dawn of the brain-computer interface, a technology poised to redefine our very existence. This is the rise of the AI-powered brain chip, a marvel of engineering small enough to rest on a fingertip, yet powerful enough to decode the very essence of our consciousness. It promises to restore what has been lost, movement to the paralyzed, voice to the silent, sight to the blind. But with this incredible power comes profound risk. It is a technology that promises miracles and threatens everything we understand about being human. As we stand on this threshold, we must ask, in our quest to overcome our biological limits, what part of our humanity are we willing to sacrifice? This journey into the inner cosmos of the mind is the most important expedition we have ever undertaken. The dream of interfacing with the brain is as old as medicine itself. From ancient civilizations performing trepanation to release supposed spirits, to the 19th century discovery that electrical currents could make a frog's leg twitch, we have long been fascinated by the electrical nature of life. The 20th century brought us the electroencephalogram, or EEG, our first crude window into the brain's electrical activity, allowing us to listen, for the first time, to the faint whispers of the mind's machinery. But how does it all work? How do we translate the chaotic electrical storm inside our skulls into coherent commands? The answer lies in the fundamental unit of the brain, the neuron. Our brains contain nearly 100 billion of these cells, each acting as a tiny biological switch. Every thought, every memory, every sensation is the result of these neurons firing in complex coordinated patterns, sending electrical signals to one another across junctions called synapses. These signals are incredibly faint, measured in microvolts, and astonishingly fast. A brain-computer interface, or BCI, is a device that intercepts these signals. The process begins with intent. When you decide to move your hand, a specific population of neurons in your motor cortex fires in a unique sequence. The BCI's job is to listen in on this neural conversation. This can be done non-invasively, using an EEG cap on the scalp, but these signals are often weak and noisy. For a clearer connection, invasive methods are required. Electrodes can be placed on the surface of the brain or, for the highest fidelity, implanted directly into the brain tissue itself. These electrodes act as microscopic microphones, picking up the electrical chatter from thousands of nearby neurons. The raw data is a torrent of noise. It's like trying to understand a single conversation in a stadium full of shouting people. The signals are a complex mix of action potentials, the actual firings of neurons, and other electrical fluctuations. The initial challenge is immense. How do you isolate the meaningful signals from the background noise? This is where the AI in the AI-powered brain chip becomes critical. The raw electrical data is transmitted from the implant to a small external processor. Here, sophisticated machine learning algorithms get to work. Their first job is signal processing and feature extraction. They filter out the noise, identify the distinct electrical signatures of individual neurons firing, and sort them. They learn to recognize neuron A's specific spike from neuron B's. The next, and most magical step, is decoding. The AI is trained by having the user think about performing a specific action, like moving a cursor up, while the system records the corresponding neural patterns. The user thinks up, and the algorithm analyzes the pattern. The user thinks left, and it analyzes another. Over thousands of repetitions, the AI builds a dictionary, a Rosetta Stone for that individual's brain. It learns to associate a specific firing pattern with a specific intention. Once trained, the system can operate in real time. The user simply thinks about the desired action. The electrodes capture the neural signals, and the AI decodes the intent, translating it into a digital command. This command can then be used to control a computer cursor, a virtual keyboard, a smartphone, or even a complex prosthetic limb. The entire process, from thought to action, happens in a fraction of a second. It is a seamless bridge between mind and machine, a testament to the power of artificial intelligence to understand the most organic and complex system known to science. This is the fundamental architecture that is opening the door to a new era of human potential. What happens when artificial intelligence becomes part of your nervous system? What happens when your thoughts can control machines, and machines can influence your thoughts? Brain-machine interfaces are no longer science fiction. Companies like Neuralink, Synchron, and BlackRock Neurotech have already implanted real devices inside real human patients. These chips decode electrical signals inside the brain and turn them into digital commands. In 2024, Neuralink implanted its first human patient. Within weeks, he was moving a cursor, sending messages, and playing video games using only the power of thought. But this technology does not belong only to medicine. Governments and militaries see something far greater: the possibility of human-machine command systems. DARPA is funding next-generation neural interfaces to control drones, weapons, and intelligence networks with pure thought. The United States, China, and Europe are entering a silent competition, not for land, not for resources, but for cognitive dominance. The nation that masters brain-machine integration will control the future of warfare, intelligence, and global power. A brain chip works by placing microscopic electrodes near your neurons. These electrodes listen to your thoughts, capture electrical patterns, and artificial intelligence translates them into actions. Move a cursor, type a message, control a robotic arm. For millions of people, this technology is hope. People who cannot move may move again. People who cannot speak may speak again. Memory may one day be restored. Neural implants could treat paralysis, Alzheimer's, depression, and other neurological disorders. While invasive brain-computer interfaces represent one frontier of neuroscience, another, equally revolutionary path is being forged at a scale almost too small to comprehend. We are entering the era of nanomedicine, a field that promises to transform brain therapy from the inside out, without the need for a single incision. The central challenge in treating brain disorders has always been a formidable obstacle: the blood-brain barrier. This highly selective, semi-permeable border of endothelial cells acts as the brain's dedicated guardian, meticulously preventing toxins, pathogens, and other harmful substances circulating in our bloodstream from entering the delicate neural environment. While essential for our survival, this same protective mechanism also blocks over 98% of potential therapeutic drugs from reaching their intended targets within the brain. For decades, this has been the primary bottleneck in neurology, forcing doctors to rely on systemic treatments with widespread side effects or highly invasive surgical procedures. But what if we could design a key to unlock this gate? At the microscopic scale, scientists and engineers are developing precisely that. Sophisticated nanorobots and smart nanoparticles designed with the express purpose of crossing the blood-brain barrier safely and efficiently. These are not science fiction fantasies. They are the tangible products of cutting-edge research in materials, science, biology, and robotics. These nanoscale agents, thousands of times smaller than a single human hair, can be engineered to exploit the brain's own natural transport systems. One promising strategy involves camouflaging the nanoparticles to look like friendly molecules the brain readily invites in, such as glucose or amino acids. By coating the nanobot's surface with specific ligands, molecules that bind to receptors on the barrier's cell walls. They can essentially trick the gatekeeper cells into granting them passage. This process, known as receptor-mediated transcytosis, allows the nanobot to be enveloped and transported directly across the cellular layer and into the brain's parenchyma. Other approaches are even more direct. Some researchers are developing nanobots propelled by external magnetic fields, allowing them to be physically guided through the tight junctions between cells. Others are exploring the use of focused ultrasound to temporarily and safely open small, localized windows in the barrier, allowing swarms of therapeutic nanoparticles to flood in precisely where they are needed, after which the barrier seals itself again. Each of these methods represents a monumental leap forward, offering a potential solution to a problem that has perplexed medicine for over a century. The goal is to create a reliable, on-demand delivery system for the brain. Once inside the brain, the true potential of these tiny machines can be unleashed. Their applications are as vast as they are precise. Consider the fight against brain cancer, such as glioblastoma, one of the most aggressive and difficult to treat malignancies. Conventional treatments like radiation and chemotherapy cause significant collateral damage to healthy brain tissue, leading to severe cognitive side effects. Nanorobots, however, could revolutionize this paradigm. Programmed to recognize the unique biochemical signature of cancer cells, these tiny agents could navigate the intricate neural pathways to hunt down and identify every last trace of a tumor, including microscopic tendrils that are invisible to current imaging technologies. Upon arrival, these tiny machines could execute their mission with surgical precision. They could target tumors by delivering potent, cell-killing drugs directly to the cancerous tissue, minimizing systemic toxicity and preserving healthy neurons just micrometers away. Alternatively, they could be designed to ablate the tumor from within, using focused energy like heat or light, triggered by an external source, to destroy the cancer cells without harming the surrounding brain. This isn't just a better delivery system, it's a fundamental shift towards intelligent, autonomous, and personalized oncology at the cellular level. Beyond cancer, the potential for neural restoration is profound. In neurodegenerative diseases like multiple sclerosis, the protective myelin sheath that insulates neurons is progressively destroyed, disrupting communication in the brain and spinal cord. Imagine nanobots designed to patrol the central nervous system, identify areas of demyelination, and perform on-site repairs. These tiny construction workers could be loaded with the lipid and protein building blocks of myelin, applying them directly to the damaged axons to rebuild the sheath and restore proper nerve function. In the aftermath of a stroke or traumatic brain injury, where brain tissue is starved of oxygen and dies, nanobots could be deployed as a rapid response team. They could work to dissolve blood clots, restore blood flow, and deliver neuroprotective agents to salvage neurons in the penumbra, the at-risk area surrounding the core injury. Further, they could release growth factors that encourage neurogenesis and synaptogenesis, the creation of new neurons and connections, actively helping the brain to rewire and heal itself. This moves beyond simply managing symptoms. It's about actively intervening to repair damaged tissue and restore lost function, a goal that has long been considered the holy grail of neurology. The power of nanobots lies not just in individual action, but in collective intelligence. We can envision swarms of millions or even billions of these machines injected into the bloodstream, working in concert to carry out complex tasks. These coordinated swarms could act as a distributed network of sensors and actuators within the brain itself. They could continuously monitor the brain's biochemistry, tracking neurotransmitter levels, identifying the buildup of amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's, or detecting the earliest signs of inflammation that precede many neurological disorders. This real-time diagnostic data could provide an unprecedentedly clear picture of brain health. But they could do more than just report. The same swarm could be instructed to take immediate action. If abnormal electrical activity signaling an impending epileptic seizure is detected, the swarm could release inhibitory neurotransmitters to calm the neural circuit and prevent the seizure before it even begins. For mood disorders like depression or anxiety, which are linked to chemical imbalances, a network of nanobots could function as a smart, adaptive pharmacy, precisely modulating levels of serotonin or dopamine in specific brain regions, offering a treatment that is both highly effective and free of systemic side effects. This represents the first steps toward healing the brain from the inside, transforming it from an inaccessible black box into a biological system that we can monitor, maintain, and mend with microscopic precision. But every miracle has a cost. The very same key that unlocks human potential can also be used to forge the chains of a new kind of servitude. As we stand on the precipice of merging mind and machine, we must cast an equally steady gaze into the shadows that this brilliant light inevitably casts. The dream of transcendence is shadowed by the nightmare of control. For every life-altering therapy, there is a potential for life-altering tyranny. The path forward is not just a technological challenge, but a profound ethical tightrope walk, and every technology can be misused. The history of human innovation is also a history of its weaponization. From the first sharpened stone to the splitting of the atom, our greatest tools have also become our most fearsome weapons. Brain-computer interfaces are no different. In the wrong hands, this technology, designed to liberate, could become the ultimate tool of oppression. The question is not, it can be misused, but it will be. And what safeguards we can possibly erect against threats we are only just beginning to imagine. The risks are not science fiction. They are concrete ethical and security challenges that demand our immediate attention. We are facing the potential for an unprecedented loss of mental privacy, the last bastion of the self. We must confront the possibility of subtle or overt behavioral influence, blurring the lines of free will. We have to engineer defenses against the threat of neurological hacking, a violation more personal than any before it. And we must grapple with the specter of a new, biologically entrenched social inequality, a chasm between the upgraded and the natural human. These are the specters at the feast of our technological progress. If your thoughts can be decoded, they can also be exposed. This is the foundational risk from which many others spring, the death of privacy. Imagine a world where your most fleeting, unedited thoughts are no longer your own, where your political leanings, your secret fears, your unspoken desires are all accessible as data points. For law enforcement, this could mean pre-crime detection based on intent. For corporations, it represents the ultimate frontier of targeted advertising, marketing products not just to your stated preferences, but to your subconscious whims. For governments, it could be a tool to identify and silence dissent before it is ever spoken aloud. In such a world, the very concept of a private self, a space for unconventional or unpopular thoughts, could be extinguished. The right to mental silence, to not have one's mind read, may become the most critical human right of the 21st century. If your brain can be stimulated, it can also be manipulated. The same technology that can calm the tremors of Parkinson's or lift the fog of depression can, by its very nature, influence emotion and behavior. This is neurological influence. It might not be as overt as direct mind control. It could be far more subtle. Imagine an employer using BCI feedback to optimize a workforce, subtly stimulating brain centers for focus and compliance while suppressing those for fatigue or discontent. Consider a political campaign that could broadcast low-level signals to evoke feelings of trust for their candidate or fear of an opponent in chipped individuals. This isn't about changing thoughts, but about changing the emotional landscape in which thoughts arise. It's the difference between censorship and propaganda. One removes ideas, the other makes you receptive to them. By hijacking our neurochemistry, it becomes possible to manufacture consent, to engineer happiness, and to quell dissent without a single overt act of force. Free will itself becomes a programmable feature. If your implant is connected to the internet, it can be hacked. This is the domain of brainjacking, the most visceral of all neurotech threats. We struggle to secure our laptops and smartphones. How can we possibly guarantee the security of a device wired directly into the brain? A hacker could gain access to the raw data stream, effectively eavesdropping on your mind. This is neurological espionage. Worse, they could interfere with the output signals. A malicious actor could induce sensory hallucinations, making you see or hear things that aren't there. They could trigger motor control interference, causing involuntary movements or temporary paralysis. They could inflict pain, overload senses, or even erase or implant false memories, a concept known as neural fabrication. The ransomware of the future might not lock your files. It might lock your ability to speak or move until a payment is made. For military personnel with neural enhancements, the risk is even greater. An entire squad could be disabled, fed false intelligence, or even turned against their own side by a remote cyber attack. Securing the neural interface is not just an IT problem. It is a matter of national and personal security of the highest order. Finally, even if we solve all the privacy and security issues, we face a profound societal risk: a new, biologically defined class system. What happens when cognitive enhancement is a product you can buy? The wealthy could afford upgrades that grant them superior memory, faster learning, and seamless multitasking abilities. This creates a feedback loop. Enhanced cognitive abilities lead to greater wealth and power, which in turn provides access to even better enhancements. Over generations, this could create a genuine biological divergence in our species, a cognitive elite and a cognitive underclass. The glass ceiling would no longer be a metaphor. It would be a biological reality. How can a natural human compete in a job market, a political arena, or an intellectual sphere dominated by the cognitively enhanced? This raises fundamental questions about what it means to be human and what we owe to one another. Do we allow the free market to create a new form of speciation? Or do we regulate access to ensure equality? And if so, how? The promise of a superhuman future for some could mean a subhuman future for others. The stakes are not just about individual rights, but about the very fabric of our society and the future of our species. What is a human? When your mind is part machine, will AI implants create a new species? Will consciousness survive digital integration? If AI participates in your thoughts, are those thoughts still yours? This is no longer the story of technology. This is the story of evolution. The first generation of AI-enhanced humans is already here. And the next chapter of humanity will not be written in books, but inside the human brain. The future is no longer coming. The future is already inside us.